Okay.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to an episode of Thinking with Mike, and today I've got with me a couple of guests, Samantha and Ken Reif.
Are we technically guests anymore if we've both been on this a collective of like 17 times?
If I had other friends, I would have them on the show.
We're not guests anymore.
Hey, can we change the name?
Here's my sister and my loan
I
officer.
think it's just going to be Thinking with Mike and Sam.
Just
and
obligation guests. Welcome.
Good to know.
So today we're going to talk about, so last week we shot this fire episode about our first houses that we'd bought. I had Chelsea on, Jay was here, and Sam was here, and it was dope. But we didn't press the record button. 29 minutes of us talking to ourselves.
It happened.
It was so
And
bad.
we were like rolling the whole time.
It was just like,
so
it was just a
funny.
beast. And we looked at each other and we're like, yes, that was dope.
That
And then I
was
went over there and I'm like,
dynamite.
oh
We're gonna
my
be so
gosh.
rich.
That's hilarious.
And
It
it
was
was
really
completely your
brutal.
fault because you're the one who's in charge of
It's
me.
because we restarted it because you guys keep screwing up my intros.
Okay.
It's everyone's favorite
Which is
part.
true.
They stop watching after that.
That's
Yeah.
super true, honestly. All right, so we are recording. And today we're going to talk about our houses and the intricacies of them, our first houses. Let's start with Ken because I think yours went the best.
Well, remember that Eagle Lake one was my second, technically.
So what's your first?
My first one was that New Brighton house. Bought a house in New Brighton.
Oh, yeah. When you put, can we talk about the movie theater you put in the basement?
God.
No, we'll get there.
Okay. Sorry.
Listen, you guys, do whatever you want to do in your house projects.
So I'm going to
don't do
introduce you
that.
guys. So this is Ken Reif. He's our preferred loan officer.
I've
for
been on
Fairway
this thing
Bank.
6 times.
I've
I don't
never
need another
taken you
intro.
seriously. This is my first.
Is this the first time you've hit record? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Fair.
So let's talk about where you were in life when you bought your first house.
The real truth of where I was in life.
Yes.
Cool.
Yep.
Things were growing great, obviously. I knew what I was doing in lending.
Were you in lending at the time?
I was in lending. I was at Wells Fargo and staying true to the consistency of Wells and missing some closings here and there.
You sucked big time.
I sucked. I mean, you don't know what you're doing. Like that's
No,
we
there's
talk about
you
this.
can't
when
like
we-
experience is just time.
Oh my gosh. Like there's no like the best loan officers and the best real estate agents are the ones that have like been like, yep, I've missed a lot of closings early in my career. Because
Right.
that's when you learn everything, right?
Yep.
But I mean, at the time we were in New Brighton. We looked at 3 total homes.
Where's New Brighton?
It's by
It's like
Fridley?
in Minneapolis area.
St. Paul or St. Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, Mountains View.
Yep.
We were right by Irondale High School. Literally could see it from my backyard.
Right on.
And it was a really nice first home.
You and your wife, right?
Yeah,
No
me and
kids
Case.
yet?
No kids.
Yep.
Pregnant, but no kids yet. And bought our first home.
What year is this?
Needed a cosigner. That is not a joke.
What year is this?
This was 2012. No, 2011, 2012, somewhere in there.
So going back to the cosigner, when you need a cosigner, that means that you're trying to buy something that you can't afford.
On paper.
Period.
I mean, yes.
Okay? We'll get to that again
True.
with my story.
Not always, but yes. In that case, yes. In like 90% of the time, yes.
All right.
But bought that house. Things I like know today that were red flags is it was a pretty small house. It was like 1,500 square feet and like bad bed bath layout. And to top it all off, right next to a train track.
Oh no, that's a huge no-no.
Oh, no.
But we were also next to a gas station
Oh.
right next door.
Double negative.
So you got a crime
things were
hub
going pretty good.
and a loud.
Train track.
So needless to say, selling that
Nice.
home wasn't my favorite.
I just
Hold
want to
on.
talk about the story Casey told me about the homemade movie theater
Oh God.
that you made in the basement. Where
Okay.
You built like
I want to preface this by saying I
not
am
handy.
a lot smarter today than I was back in the day. But you know, it's your first home. You
Did
want
you just
all
like
the
go
things.
buy some wood and like build up some like
I wish I had a
shitty
picture of
shelves
this.
and just put
It
couches on them?
was an old box spring mattress.
I've never heard of this. This is terrific.
You haven't heard this story?
No.
Oh God. So like you walk into the house, main level, and then you go the up and down split. So like you have your kitchen in your living room, and then you make a left, and it's this up and down split. And there was this like tiny living room. It can't be no bigger than the size of this studio. And I'm like, I really want to put movie theater seating in here,
Okay.
but we're poor. We probably shouldn't do it. I didn't care. So just went on and YouTubed it. And like, just get some 2x4s. And I'm like, can't afford that.
So you
2x4s are
you used
expensive.
a box spring.
Use a box spring, put a couch on there.
Yep.
It was terrible.
So you put a couch on top of a box spring.
Yep.
If you bring it up to
And
Casey,
we were- and
if
the
you bring it
funniest
up to
thing is-
Casey today, she's still mad about it.
And I
she's
did that
like-
while she was gone. And the funniest thing is the front couch was like this far from the TV. You had to look up like this is like really tight. It's just one of those things when you're like when you're young and dumb.
Hold on.
and
Where'd you
think
get the
you're
box
good.
spring from?
It was an old box spring we had.
Okay.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
laying
yeah,
around.
yeah. No. So yeah, no, I did that.
So I didn't mean to talk about your theater. Thanks for getting us off topic. I want to talk about the logistics of it. Did you use a real estate agent to buy it?
Yep.
How'd that
Went
go?
online, found it. Actually, a really good agent to work with on my first one. I think if it were a different transaction to be like, hey, let's go look at a few more homes. We don't have to make a decision today. But it was a good first transaction for sure. Like it was smooth. Everything went fine.
Who did the financing?
Wells Fargo.
Did you do it or did someone else?
No, my old partner Kevin. That's
Nice.
how we met. He
Cool.
ended up doing it for us. He did a bang up job. But yeah, it was definitely like your first ever deal. So many things, and I was in lending at the time, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this means.
Yep.
I don't know how to read a loan estimate, or at the time they were called GFEs. And we looked at 3 total homes. Didn't once really get told, as far as I remember, about the resale value of a home next to a train track.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Not promising.
Not great. And the gas station next door wasn't great.
So you can buy a house next to those things, but you need to know about it and about the downsides of it. So like when I sell somebody a house on a busy street or show them, I guess, or like next to a railroad track or next to like an industrial center, the first thing you tell them like, hey, this is going to affect your ability to sell it. So we got to get a deal on the buy
Yep.
because the outro is going to hurt. You're not going to comp next to a similar house because you're going to have to make a significant adjustment downward because of those things.
Yeah.
And just had the conversation.
And I would have never, and like, again, as is in everything, 2020 vision looking backwards, I never would have bought that home ever. Like knowing what I know today. Okay.
Yep.
B, once I bought it, I never would have sold it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we all sold our first houses.
God.
You know what I mean?
Ours was a bi-level in Watertown. We paid $160,000.
Hold on.
$160,000
Get to your
for it.
turn
That's
good.
next.
No, I'm just,
I was just saying, like,
that's-
we shouldn't have sold that.
So let's
Shouldn't
get
have
we
to
done
didn't make any
Yeah.
money.
So let's
Yep.
get to the exit of it. What happened?
we sold it.
How long?
3 months on market.
No, how long until you sold it?
Oh, year and a half.
Okay. Did you make
Year
a
and a
profit?
No, broke even on it.
Break even.
Yeah.
That probably would have changed because the house maybe not. The housing market from 2012 to 2014 was pretty brutal.
It was pretty flat.
It was
pretty
just flat in general.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, we didn't exceed the normal, like people today, I would have been losing my mind, right?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, we've been on the market for 75 days. What do we do?
Yep.
You know, like
was
back then
no-
it was
it
like,
was
yeah,
normal.
you're
It
going
was
to be on the
normal.
market for 90 days. That's just how it was.
That's the way it
you
is,
know?
especially the train tracks.
I think we price reduced one time too. That was it.
Right on.
That was it.
Did you break
And we
even
did-
or lose money?
Broke even.
Okay.
Yeah. And so here's the other thing.
You know what gamblers
We were
do
just-
when they say when they lose?
What?
Well, broke even.
We did.
Word.
Show you the Alta. No, but seriously, here's the
You
one.
mean the
Here's the one thing.
GFCIs?
Here's the one thing too that I didn't realize is, you guys have been in these listings where they're like, all right, let's be strategic about showing the things that we want to show in the pictures and literally not mentioning anything else. So we cropped out the gas station in the listing, and we totally brushed past the fact that there's a railroad
Like
track.
someone's not going to see that when they come.
Right.
After you've vacated your home.
And it's like, and at that time, remember, it wasn't weekends. We were getting 30 showings stacked. It was like Monday, you've got one. Tuesday afternoon, you've got one. Wednesday, you've got one. And it got to the point where like we were packing up and leaving every 20 minutes to go to a showing and re-cleaning and everything like that because we had kids at that time. And it's like they'd get there and be like, oh, there's a train track. Oh, this
Yep.
is next to a gas station. It's like freaking let's just get it out there. So, I mean, we were talking about that this morning. Do you hide the things that you don't that you perceive to be negatives, or do you just come right out and show it right
You know what the
away,
weirdest example of this is, and I've learned that you don't need to make a big deal of it, because so like if we talk about a house that's been smoked inside, it's one of the weirdest things ever, because if you talk about it, you'll depress showings all the time.
Yep.
But if you don't talk about it, you'll get showings. But the weirdest thing about a smoker's house is, and I don't know how this relates to the gas station, it probably correlates quite. But you let's say you have 10 showings, you'll have 9 people say it stinks, it stinks, it stinks, it stinks, and then you'll have one of those 10 that just buys it.
Yep.
And they don't talk about the smell. It's like they don't even notice it or doesn't even correlate.
Yeah.
So I would lean towards driving traffic, I think.
Would
I
you?
would.
Okay.
I actually would too, because
Interesting.
because what a buyer when they come out to a house, like they want to like it in general.
Maybe they'll find
like-
a reason to like it.
Most people
Yeah.
are trying to look for reasons to want it.
Yep. Yeah. So they'll be like, well, it's not that bad in person or whatever.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you're better off just driving more traffic but it's a grind leaving your
Yeah,
house
yeah.
and getting I've had sellers that's one of the biggest complaints is drive-by showings where they drive by it and don't
Yep.
go inside.
Yep.
That really can hurt people.
Sure.
But you have to understand that that's a showing.
Yep.
right.
If they find the red flag as they drive into the neighborhood, or if they find it in your bathroom, like it doesn't matter, it's still the same.
It's still a showing.
I think one of the things that
showing.
we talked about once, which was really cool, is you can have a weekend with 30 showings and all 30 are not going to like it.
Yep.
And but you feel this like false sense of optimism. And then you get to your one showing 2 weeks later on a Sunday and you're like, ugh, why are we even cleaning for
Waste
this
of
one?
time.
And they buy it. It's
All
like,
out of nowhere.
it's absolutely crazy how that happens. I feel like every home sale we've had has kind of been like that.
That's
You
what
know
I've been
I mean?
telling people recently. Like we're digressing a little bit. It's not getting
Yeah,
too
we
far off
gotta
topic.
move on.
But people with long terms, I just tell them like, chill out. It's just gonna sell out of nowhere. It's gonna be weird. So just like hang in there. All right, Sam's house. You jumped into it. What happened and how did it happen? What year is this?
So it's 2009.
Okay.
I'm 20.
Great time to buy a
I'm
house.
22, mind you.
Okay.
Like I am a child, and
Fresh out of college.
Jay is 21, and we have a baby. We have Ava. We've been married for a year, and we had a realtor that we somehow got connected with. He was like a old guy, and he lived in Stillwater, and we were living in Minneapolis at the time. And he was like, "Where do you guys want to buy a house?" And we're like, "Anywhere."
Nightmare client, by the way.
Like legit, I have not since in my 12 years of doing real estate had a client with an open location criteria.
And this is back in what year?
2009. And there's tons of inventory.
Every home you could think about is on the market. You press any dot on a map,
Like
and there's going to be
hundreds
50
and hundreds
options.
of choices. And like we really didn't, because we both worked in Minneapolis and we didn't like want to live in Minneapolis. We just like wanted a nicer, newer house, and we were willing to drive for that. So like we're like, we'll go 45 minutes this way or this way or this way or this way. And the realtor like was trying his best, but I mean like it was just so broad. Then like I don't even know if I can say this. I feel like I'm gonna like get an ethics
course you can
violation
say
or
it.
something. Wasn't licensed at the time. Okay. We were like driving around looking at houses we were looking at on Zillow one afternoon, and like we were like 2 hours away from Stillwater where our realtor lived. And we seen one that just came on the market, and we like drove by it. And we were like, oh, let's just walk around the yard, which like one is completely inappropriate.
Don't do
Don't
that.
get out of your house and walk around someone's yard if their house is on the
Without a
market.
showing scheduled?
Correct. So we're,
Hold on, it gets better.
well, we like looked in the house and could see that it was vacant, and then we were like, the door was wide open. So you know what we did? We gave ourselves a showing. Like,
Oh my God.
yeah, this happened. It's super embarrassing.
The Boondocks driving through a random neighborhood in Watertown. And you're
breaking into a house.
mind you, you don't even know if it's sold because you can't tell.
Oh my God. Anyways, we called our realtor and we're like, hey, and we told him what we did. And he didn't like, if one of my clients did that, I would chew their ass.
Yep.
I would be like, listen, you can't do that. Don't ever do that again. And if you do that again, we're not working together anymore. Like,
That's, like you're literally breaking and entering into somebody's house at that point. Like
We accidentally did that once in Excelsior.
see, you did it.
we did do that by accident.
We did.
Yeah. How do you do that by accident? Okay.
I'll tell you exactly how we did it by accident.
Anyways,
After this, we'll
we,
get
this, that's
in
a good
our
story.
minds, in our like stupid young minds, we're like, it's for sale, it's empty, and of course they want us to look at it. They left the door open, you know.
Yep.
But anyways, I digress.
They want us to come in.
we bought said house.
Oh, that's funny.
and he's like living the dream.
Yeah, he didn't have to drive.
If
from
you if you
Stillwater.
just like shuffle that ethical dilemma under the rug and then you just look at the situation for, oh my God, these clients who would literally buy a house in Wisconsin have told me that they wanted to buy one, and I don't have to go show it.
Well, and honestly, in his
Sounds
defense,
pretty good.
he only took us out like twice. So we didn't like waste a ton of his time.
Right.
Sure.
So yeah, that was our first house, and we ended up paying $165,000 for it.
Unreal.
It was like a newer mid-90s bi-level.
I remember thinking this house was like so.
Oh, we
freaking
thought it
cool.
was like our ender home.
Like I thought I like had friends come over there and be like, "Look at this beast."
How much? What do you think that's worth today?
like 220.
Yeah, but I mean, like you bought that thing for 165 in 09.
Yeah, Watertown hasn't appreciated as much as other areas.
I bet
Maybe
you it's 250.
if we wouldn't have finished the basement.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just a 3-bed, 1-bath bi-level with an unfinished basement. Like it wasn't. We thought it was so nice.
The Ender home.
It was like I was like, we're gonna be in this house forever.
So what was the exit? What'd that look like?
We sold it like 2 years later.
And you were an
because-
agent by this time, right?
Yep, sold it the first day.
Wow.
Didn't make any money on it because we had like put new appliances in and stuff.
Yep.
It was like kind of like Ken said, like it was like a break even deal, and I'm like, man, why did we do that? You know,
Well, I think people sell their properties because they
we couldn't qualify from a debt to income standpoint on that at that time.
they need the cash and the debt to income is off there. So like the solve to that is like, I don't know.
And I don't know, but rents weren't what they were then either. I mean, if our mortgage was $1,250, we weren't getting more than that at the time.
Yeah, the cash flow I remember didn't make sense
It
at the
wasn't
time for
there.
me either.
Yep.
You know what
So-
I mean?
Yep.
And there was no like end in sight. There was not like today where it's like there's no end in sight to when it's gonna like go down or plateau. It's like then it's like yeah, it's been this for 4 years.
And everybody
Might
was
be stuck
saying like
here.
there's still room to go down in the market. The market's going to keep going. I'm going to wait for it to keep going down. It's what everybody was saying. In this
everyone
time.
was scared too coming out of 08, 09.
I know
about the
every
market. It was
house
like,
I
oh,
was
this is
showing
gonna happen
was
again.
empty.
Yep.
Honestly, it was so rad. I would.
Was that when you went to Plymouth? After that one?
No, we went to Windmill Creek.
Oh,
So
Windmill
we have
Creek,
moved
yeah.
7 times. 7 times.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. Honestly, Ken's moved a ton too. How many homes?
5.
I think 5. Yeah,
Yep.
5.
Yeah, I've moved what, 1, 2, I don't know, 4 times probably. Maybe no.
You
No.
have moved 4, haven't you? Well, John's.
The houses that I owned
bet.
like really didn't. The first ones that I've only moved twice
Yeah.
Yeah.
with my family, or actually once.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't recommend moving 7 times.
It's brutal.
It's not.
Learned a
Yeah.
lot. It was the hardest part of my time of my life moving from our last house.
Yeah.
It's nuts, and all I had to do was negotiate a holdback,
Yeah.
like a move-in agreement where you can just like, God, that solves a lot of problems.
It does.
Most times people just do that no matter what's on the table. Like you can generally negotiate that. It's great for the buyer because it gives you the time to actually clean the house. And it's good for the seller moving. Anyways, that's off topic. I'm going to get to my first house. I also needed a cosigner right here.
It was me.
And so when I say because you couldn't afford it, it's because like I could not afford that house. So like you're in real estate making a decent income, but it's commission only. So I think I had like $5,000 or $7,000 in my checking account, and that seems okay for like a W-2 job, but like it is not okay
No. No.
owning a house in real estate.
Well,
And,
yours was the history too of how long you'd been in it.
Well, and early on, like you weren't like.
I hadn't been in it that long,
Right. And,
and
like
I'd
you're
had
one you're
terrible habits running up into that. So like
Well,
I had,
remember, like your like motivation switch turned on one year where you were like, "I want to be a freaking kick-ass realtor."
speak into the mic.
I just saying, like, I remember your motivation switch didn't turn on for a couple years. Like you were totally fine. Like then, like 1 year, you're like, "No, I need to make like
Yeah, I got married
crap ton of money."
and realized we had a super negative net worth.
Right.
God.
Yeah. So like at this time, I
That's
feel
what
like you
happened.
were like living like bachelor. Like, oh, I've got what I need to survive.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It's suitcase life. Like I didn't
Right.
care. I remember that old days. So I bought this house. It was a foreclosure. It was in Waconia, and it was freaking awesome. And we got it. So like I tell people to write offers, even though you know you're gonna lose, because once in a while you get a phone call back.
Yep.
Like a week or two will pass, and the people in front of you stub their toes, and they've passed on like a really good deal, and you might get that phone call. And so that's what happened here. You write the offer, you know you're gonna lose, so you lose, and then like a week later they said, "Hey, you still around?"
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
'Cause it was
They
like a
did.
Wells
They did.
Fargo foreclosure, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yep.
And I was a
remember that.
bridge agent who was repping it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You
Yep.
didn't even get a response first time around, did you?
No, they just ignored us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just
we
randomly-
hung around for a week and then
Got a phone
that's
call.
right.
And we've got an FHA deal through on this house that probably shouldn't have gone FHA. There's cracks in the foundation that turned out not to be a big deal. But
It was so gross at first.
yep. So I buy this house that I can't afford, but I'm still like acting like I can. And Sam and Jay, I think first, were like, "Hey, we sold our house. We needed a place to stay."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I guess you could probably use my house, if you pay for rent or whatever."
As they're your co-signer.
And I'm like, I got no money. Like, and I need this like so bad. And so like they paid me my mortgage for that period of time.
Yep.
And right after that, Ken and Casey were like, "Hey, we're relocating."
Wait,
And
where were you? Were you living with us during this
I
time?
don't know where I was living. It
Yeah,
was
why
literally-
weren't you there?
I might have lived in St. Cloud still.
No.
Yeah, I think you did.
No. I think, okay, maybe.
Yep.
Why didn't you move in there?
'Cause I didn't have any money.
You didn't want to make the mortgage payment.
So then Ken and Casey, they were moving. They're like, "Hey, we all right after Sam and Jay leave. They're like, "Hey, we
Yep.
need a place to crash. Is it okay if?"
Because you were building Oak.
Yeah, and then we
Yeah.
moved in, and then you guys were
And
building
then we
St. George.
were
Street.
building St. George in Waconia.
So I
and we
get
moved
like
in.
6 to 8 months. Of
We
just, like,
also couldn't afford that house.
yep the rent.
Like, if you guys want financial advice strictly from people that have made massive mistakes,
This is literally it.
come talk to us.
Okay, so Ken and Casey move in and cover my mortgage for that period of time, and then when that ends, I'm like, still don't have any money. I've completely squandered this period of time. No, I'm going bankrupt. And I tell Sam and Jay, I'm like, "Hey, this would probably make a pretty good flip.
Yep.
You want to come in on it with me?
Even though we're the co-signers.
You want to come in on it?"
They're already in on it.
And so like, so we're like, it's good for you. You'll get off the mortgage, and then we can make some money. So we ended up remodeling this, and we did like a gut remodel of the bathroom, the kitchen, we did all the flooring. We moved the HVAC down. We like did all this crazy renovations. I think it cost us like $41,000 back then.
Yeah, it was like done well. Like we had like a
Custom
custom
cabinets.
cabinetry guy like painted on site.
Yep.
It was a really nice remodel.
But it was
I
like
remember that.
40 grand. Like
It was
now,
so
if we
cheap.
price it out
We did
nowadays,
the whole house.
if we
Yep.
price it out today, it'd be like at least 120 for the same exact material.
Was that your guys' first flip ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go to sell this thing and we
Yeah,
get a
it was.
low appraisal. And we had sold it at like 300. And we're like, "Oh, there's good profit there. I think we were going to make like, I don't know, like 40,000. And we get a low appraisal and it drops down to like, what was it, like 275. And we're going to make literally nothing, just break even.
Didn't we cancel?
And we were like, F it, we'll just sell it at that. And our buyers literally got cold feet and they said, no, we don't care. We're leaving anyways.
Yeah, they
This
ditched out.
insane discount.
Right.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep, but Ken was actually repping them on the loan, and they just
Yeah.
like left for no reason.
Forgot about that.
Yeah,
They
that's
just
right.
left.
Completely forgot
So we
about
put it
that.
back on the market, reshoot photos, and we sold it for cash at that full price again.
Yep.
And like, so we
300.
actually ended up profiting from this. And remember, I got $15,000 in my account after this thing, and it was an absolute lifesaver because I was gonna go broke
Yep.
otherwise.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I think that was like a good lesson of just like not being so anxious to make a deal happen that
Yep,
you cut your legs off.
Yeah,
It
we
was
were
just, like, a
literally-
really good
it
lesson.
was like 25 grand that we were just gonna throw away.
Yep.
Yeah, when there's the difference between making like 40,000 or making like 10,
Right.
which is basically nothing.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember that. That was crazy.
Yeah. What was the other story though? Oh, shoot, we were gonna cover it.
Oh, when we broke into the Excelsior home on
No.
accident.
Oh yeah, that too. I was gonna talk about the story about when Jay was at Lakeview Terrace and then people stole that. That was the house I bought. Maybe he'll have to tell this story.
What?
No, I gotta tell it. So like, Sam and Jay are living in my house, and I hope I tell the story well. And they hear somebody rummaging around in their car in the front yard. Okay,
Yeah.
and Jay goes outside and finds a guy
Going through our car.
going through the car and stealing something. Okay. And so Jay goes, "Hey," and the guy jumps out of the car, has something in his hand, and he's running down the street. And Jay goes, "What are you doing?" And the guy goes, "F you, man," as he's running down the middle of the
He
street.
took our car
Which
seat.
turns out he stole the bottom half of the car seat.
Jeez.
Yeah, like F
you.
us. F
F
us.
you, man.
I was in your car.
Just drunk.
So irritating. God, I hated that neighborhood. There was always people walking drunk down the street. I like couldn't sleep at night because I was so scared all the time. It's like the most bizarre.
Yep.
Most bizarre.
That is goofy. That is goofy.
So that actually just sold. Hang on. And this is another story about like why, like if you can, for God's sakes, hang on to this. So this has been what, 4 years since then?
Yeah.
More than that.
We sold it for $300, okay? And they just put it on the market. The people love the house, but they had to go into some like assisted living. And so they put it on the market again. And hang on, let's look what they sold it for. $438.
Ooh.
Okay, so that's $140,000.
I have a fun house turnaround story. When we sold our Windmill Creek house and we bought that house in Plymouth,
Yep.
that was like the most insane, easy money ever.
Oh.
That was cool. You got a big,
You did.
so you're an agent, so you got your commission, plus they were offering like a 10K
They had
bonus.
a 10K bonus. So like when we bought it, it was like $40,000 just to buy it.
That's wild.
And then,
Crazy.
and we bought it for $650.
Mm-hmm.
And they had like let their kids like rollerblade through the house. And the paint was like, it was like bright yellow. It was so ugly. It was so gross. So we bought it, refinished the floors, painted it, literally just painted it. I decorated it with like items and we sold it for $710
You made out good on that one.
Really
You
good.
didn't do like
within
anything really.
7 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember that? I thought it was longer than it, but it wasn't. You painted it, fixed the flooring, and just sold it for a big old pile of profit.
It was awesome.
Yep.
That was dynamite.
God, holding real estate is awesome. Okay, so breaking in. This is how you can accidentally schedule the showing. So we're walking
We
down.
accidentally did it.
We were just out having a guys' night.
Yeah, it
hanging
was,
out,
it was
having
Jay
dinner.
and Ken and me, I think.
Yep,
just
just
us
the
three.
three of us out in
We're
Excelsior.
Walking down Excelsior, and we look up. We saw a for sale sign on like one of the commercial buildings there. And so I pull up my HomeSpotter app, and I'm
Mixed
like, oh,
use. It was mixed use though.
what?
It was mixed use. Like it was
Yeah.
a residence and a commercial
Yep.
at the same time.
So I pull up my HomeSpotter, okay? And I'm like, oh, there it is. Or my which is like how we schedule showings. I pop it, hit it, and schedule. Let's go and show. I'm like, nope. Oh, dope. Go right in there, and it's in an E key, okay? So E key is that you just use your phone app
To unlock
so
it.
And you just unlock it, and bloop, it doesn't matter.
There's
You don't-
no code or anything.
You don't have to have a specific code. It's a major downfall of an E key. So we go through this home, and we're like, look at it. We're just like going through it, and like,
The music was on. That was the
it
weirdest
felt
thing.
like someone. It kind of like felt like we were always gonna walk in on somebody.
Yeah, because the main level was commercial,
Yeah.
empty, totally empty. So that was fine. And then upstairs is this live-in apartment.
Yep.
It was a nice, cool,
Yep.
like really cool old style. And we walk up there, and there's like music going on, and it sounded like there was someone in the bathroom.
Yep.
Remember?
It was
We're just
weird.
like, what is going on?
Yep.
And so we walked through there, and we're just like, hello, hello.
But no one was there.
I'm fairly confident Jay had no idea the entire time that there was the danger of someone being in there. But
None of
me
us
and
did.
you,
I
me and you
had, like,
figured
the-
it out. Like we're
weird.
like, this is weird.
Yep.
It doesn't look like this was ready for a showing.
Yep.
There's stuff everywhere, and like there's music on. So like crazy. Like this person had just stepped out.
So
Clearly.
a month later, I get a phone call from this guy, and he goes, "Where the f have you been? I've been calling you like crazy. You're gonna get fined." And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" No, it was from the MLS directly.
Yeah, you didn't know about
Hey,
it.
no,
Yeah.
the MLS called me and said, "Hey, you did an unauthorized showing. Somebody been trying to call you." I'm like, "No one's called me. What are you talking about?" And she pulls it up. This is the address. I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then I looked at my phone and went, "Oh my gosh!" There was literally two like flags stacked on top of each other.
And he booked the wrong one.
I just checked it, and they were both E key,
Yep.
and just flat out booked the wrong one. And this guy had been calling my like phone number from St. Cloud, and he finally got so mad that because when you do like an electronic showing, it gives you an authorization.
Yeah, notifies you.
So the seller goes like, "What? This dude just came into my house. There's no showing. Like, find out what's going on." And so the agent's calling my wrong number and just getting irate. Finally makes a complaint to the MLS. MLS says, "You're gonna get fined if you don't work this out." I called the dude, and he's pissed. Anyways, they made me pay a $250 cleaning bill because they said that we made it dirty, and then it went away. So that showing ended up costing me $250.
But it's just like crazy. Like
Yeah.
how
Been
lucky
meaning to
were we
talk
that
to
there
you
was
about
no
that.
one in the house.
I know,
Like
just
he had
luckily.
just stepped out
Yep.
of the house.
I've done that before. I've gone in
Yeah.
the wrong house.
Totally. I've done a showing on the wrong day before.
Well,
like a showing
no, like
schedule.
one time I walked into a neighbor's house on accident.
God, yeah,
Tomorrow we all wake up and like all of our accesses are frozen
it happens all the time. So
for
like you have to
breaking and
be-
entering on
That's
multiple
That's part
occasions.
of the wisdom of being an agent. Like you double, triple check. Like
Yeah,
that
now
stuff matches up.
No mistakes like that recently.
No.
But because we've lived through it.
Yep.
You know.
Oh my gosh, I've been off the screen the whole time.
Yeah, I was gonna say something to you, but
Glad you
honestly,
didn't.
it was better.
God.
with you out,
No, you were in.
kind
Over
of.
here. I've been over here like this.
Yep.
Jesus.
All right. Well, we should wrap it up.
All right, I think
well.
that's it. I think that's fun. So like, I don't know. Comment, share what's the time that you bought your house? What happened with that?
It's It's always good. Always good to hear them. They're fun stories.
A couple of break evens and a small profit.
And by break evens, we obviously mean we lost money.
Yeah,
But
Okay, in the next one where Michael is kind enough to let us be his guests.
Yes.
We got to hear about how Ken is still paying taxes on an outlot he owns in Mankato.
yeah,
That's
we'll
a
talk
good
about
story.
that later.
Let's do it now.
No, I
Oh,
don't want to talk about it right now. I'm
Next
not in
time.
not in
You
an
got to give
emotional
him a
space.
reason to come back. Okay.
All right.
Come back to your weekly spot that I'm
Yes.
on every week.
Yes.
Do I even have to have an invite now?
Thanks for listening, you guys. Please comment, share, subscribe. Having a lot of fun doing this, and the channel's actually growing. It's trickling up. It's freaking
is.
fun.
Yeah.
So let's keep going. We're gonna keep enjoying it, and like I keep saying, we're eventually gonna customize this
Thinking with Sam.
to say "Thinking with Sam."
Thinking with Sam.
So look out.
I
for
feel
that
like
coming
I
up
feel
here.
like our subscriber count, and by hour I mean hours,
my hours. Yes.
will go up when you change that.
I'll share
name.
the revenue with you, which is mostly in the expense column
I'm
nowadays.
just gonna get an invoice for $17 for
Thinking with Sam.
This is just an
time
expense.
time spent turning on the ring light.
All right. See you
All right.
guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.